Abusia aye lawyer Martin Pebu and Ababontin abedi nkomo e de afa aye kind Ofori Atta your former finance minister. Sisi amene we kasa it is alleged say ade a kind Ofori Atta atumi anya aye permanent residence ewo aye US. Na lawyer Martin Pebu echemu criminal charges ne de kwan bia so ye de bebo aye kind Ofori Atta. Na nye easy so say sisi ya kind Ofori Atta anya permanent residence ewo ye US no. Just say US for be join the mukwa. Say omra eye omai Ghana emefresi eye ne charges. Abusia we dey ma mekasa wa me ma mekasa enye tentepese yekọ na yetin nsem lawyer Martin Pebu a legal eye private eye practitioner or the atudwa a efa eye former finance minister Ken Ofori Atta wona see wi na se wadwen hwe bia ya bomoden ase e be che adwen we comment section ha eda so aye be me da je che be se wa say ene dedicate on the channel so you know go kwan so you be subscribe here there my notification bell no so for more podcast updates yentie lawyer Martin Pebu ne nsem de todwa a efa eye Ken Ofori Atta ene eye ne criminal eye charges a just say ye de abono a enya nsem ketwa yentie na sesia.
Oh, as to how this particular process can proceed without Ken Ofori Atta being in Ghana. I think that's where the matter is now. The proposal of a trial in absentia can only take place only after Ken Ofori Atta has been served.
That's correct.
Now, he is not in the jurisdiction. And this is a criminal matter, so he would have to be served personally.
Yes.
What other processes can be employed to get him to be served personally, even if he doesn't come to Ghana physically?
Okay.
The option of his lawyers, as in Nkapremo, being served because they represent him legally here, is that feasible?
No, it's not so far until our Supreme Court decides otherwise.
Okay.
So that's how come we decided. When I say we, that's the prosecution as a country, because in this case we all want to Ofori Atta back. So we are saying we, that's the whole state.
Right.
That's how come it's been decided that the charges be sent to him in the US.
Okay.
And the judge has accordingly made the order. So my understanding from the OSP, people answering from the OSP, is that the orders were made and the charge sheet, the orders extra have been dispatched to the US.
That's right.
So that it's now left with the US authorities to now serve Ofori Atta. So that's where the ball is in their court. They have to serve Ofori Atta. You see that sometimes their processes are slower than ours. Yes, you see, we Ghana extradition, we can finish within 3-4 months. But I see in the US, they take years. They are never finishing. So somewhere, somehow, sometimes their processes are slower, much slower than ours, right? So let's wait for the US authorities to serve him. Then, of course, the order would have the number of days for him to, show an interest in coming down or not. Because once he receives it, after a certain number of days, it's not coming down, then the trial will proceed. So let's wait. There's actually, even apart from our local laws, we have the Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty. Right. It's an international treaty that the nations have all signed up. So when you need help with some of these things, you would then apply, of course, through your foreign minister, Okuje, to present it on behalf of the nation to the other nations so that the steps will be gone into. Even in the Mutual Legal Assistance Act, yes, there is provision for the person who is abroad to do video conference. Is there? So you see the time Ofori Atta said, he wanted to do video conference. Yes, it's in the treaty.
So we could have taken up that.
That's why I told you. So that brings us to the interesting part. Because of that collusion between Kissie Jabe and Ofori Atta, they pretended that even this trial in absentia could not be done. What were they doing? They were buying Ofori Atta time. Because look, January of 2025, we can check the tape. Lawyer Tadio Sori was the first to come out that, look, let's do trial in absentia. Unfortunately for us, a lot of us, of course, that's how, of course, Tadio Sori, we all know, is much more experienced, all that. He saw it earlier. I remember even as of that time, some of us didn't understand. So we thought, it was serious sickness. So that I had sympathies for Ofori Atta, if you check. Because my point was that, but the man wrote to you. So my point was on accountability of this state institution. That I didn't even know Kissie Jabe knew. So my anger was directed towards Julius Debra and Fremont Opare, because the letter shows that he wrote to outgoing chief of staff and then what? Incoming chief of staff. So in the transition team, this is story short, Julius Debra had visibility. So these were the two people, Fremont Opare and this. That I didn't know that Kissi Jabin had seen. Then the matter began to change for me on two fronts. One, when it turned out that the man went to do a biopsy. Put on the medical doctor. Biopsy is not any complex surgery. Biopsy is not. Just taking tissue out of the body to do tests, etc. And they made it kuntai, like some complex thing. Then unfortunately with time, it turned out that he was just making a small procedure look very complex. Then he hid his return date. Even when the biopsy, and then they said after the biopsy, we can check the tail of the tape, the various dates. He said, oh, they are going to do biopsy and possible surgery. Then OSP said, oh, let's give him some time. It turned out soon after that the surgery will not take place. And they kept mute. Waited only a few days to, I think it was going to be May. Yes, that he was to come. Then his lawyers here wrote to the OSP to say that, oh, he's not able to come. Now he needs further time. Meanwhile, when the surgery didn't take place, the quickest thing would have been to fly down, come and go through the procedures, get bail, and then you can apply that you want to go back to the US for medical care.
That was an option.
And then, yes, and that would have shown bona fides, everything. Me, I would have supported it. But they kept quiet, so you could see that they were deceived. It's a complex game, man. But then the other fact subsequently came out later in the year when Kissi Jabin now admitted that he saw the letter that was written to outgoing chief of staff and the incoming. And then he says he ran to NIB, that's a BNI today. He didn't get help. Went to National Security, didn't get help. It turned out they are false. I'm sure I've shown you the letters. I wrote to BNI, they responded that Kissi Jabin never came. Apart from the letter, I also checked with previous people in charge, etc. He never went there. He was lying. He said he went to National Security. National Security wrote that they didn't see him there. It's immigration. So Ghana immigration, look, you have to respond to that letter. So far, it's Ghana immigration that has been dodging, I don't know what sympathies they have for this in Kissi Jabin.
What exactly were you seeking in that letter?
Yes, they should tell me, did he come there? Did he come to Ghana Immigration Service that they should arrest Ofori Atta at the airport and they didn't respond? But so far, 2 out of the 3 institutions is mentioned, they turned out to be false. So then, it tells you the whole plot. The whole plot, and then add the other thing. So they said, no. Try and absentia cannot be done. Sami Daku, we sent you notices. Check the tape. Sami Daku, I have private conversations with Sami Daku those days before they arrested me and we fell out. He said, try and absentia, it can never be done. He said, try and absentia can never be done because Ofori Atta didn't go to court once and fled. He says,
what he said now is that the trial in absentia can only take place after he has been served.
That's all. Yes, and I'm telling that he's now changed. So I'm telling that the whole thing they did, I think Sami Daku, that's my accusation, he and Kissi Jabin, they deliberately were making the case that try and absent so that they'll buy him time.
To come and give us the opinion. Because
they bought him time.
It's too personal with OSP. We are talking of Ken Ofori Atta situation.
Yes, I'm telling you, wait, let me wait. You had your time.
No, he didn't.
He spoke first.
It was just about the...
No, you spoke first.
No, it was just about the permanent resident.
Wait.
No, so I'm telling you that in January...
He's now speaking.
In January, all we are saying is that in January 2025, when Senior Tadiosori said, do try and absentia, check, just go, you will see. OSP, they were denied that, you can't do try and absentia. When the man was leaving, there was no case. So unless you bring him into Ghana, you can't. I'm telling that that's what Sami Daku was saying all over, that you can't do try and absentia. Challenging lawyers. That
but that's history. Okay. Now you can try him.
Yes, and the history is important.
Keep me, don't interrupt.
We are just having the chat. And you also made the
Mike, you complain of interruption by saying the same thing.
I'll come back to you.
I want to make something clear.
No, your microphone
you
is off.
spoke to him, then these are the two I'm not No. You have complained of
that's not true.
But he has spoken already on the matter. He knows.
Hold on.
That's about a minute.
Well, but whether a minute or not, I'm just reminding you that you have spoken.
Hold on. When I started the conversation, I went to him to confirm a position that he had already put out a year ago regarding Ken Ofori Atta.
But did he
hold on. Seeking permanent status. That was just that part of the conversation. It was just a minute. You have spoken substantively about the matter. Let him speak, please.
Yeah. So you see that these guys at OSP, Kisi and Sabida Kwenku, they bought Ofori time. January, oh no, they can't be trial in absentia. We rather bring him to start. You can't do trial in absentia because on the day Ofori was leaving, there was no criminal case. He had not appeared physically. Then they were referring to Bonsu alias Benjilo. That's our foremost case on extradition. Trial in absentia. Because in Benjilo, that Bonsu case, there was a Nigerian, not Bonsu himself. There's a Nigerian in that case who came to court, and then the case was adjourned. He was on bail, then he fled. So they took it as if you must physically go into the courtroom, the case be called, and then you subsequently flee before trial and absentia can be done. Meanwhile, that's not the law. Even the Constitution itself does not say so. So what I'm saying is that thing was deliberate to buy Ofori time so that this application for permanent residence, that is my assessment. Because any lawyer would know, it's our Constitution. It's our Constitution. Go to court. If the court say he must first come, then you know that is a court. But Sami Daku, how old are you at the bar? They kept saying that. Yes, that's what I'm saying. In the Constitution, Article 19, Clause 3, right? It's clear. It doesn't put any impediments that the the person must physically come to the court before absconding. Then you can now say trial in absentia. That says that if we notify you and you don't come, we will go ahead. And I'm telling you that it took almost a year for OSP to yield. And I'm telling you that thing was deliberate so that they'll buy Ofori time, so that this is application for residence permit will gain traction, so that we'll move quickly, so that we'll reach a very critical stage, almost be done. And that's what they've achieved.
But
now let's go.
Does he being granted permanent status make our case any difficult in trying to...
Oh, absolutely. It makes the case a lot more difficult. You see, right now, but quickly, before we go into that, but it is not impossible. Yes, it doesn't mean that because he's a permanent resident, he can never come. So on paper, you say that, oh, it is still possible. But practically, he's gained a lot more protection. And let's not forget, in this analysis, so as a permanent resident, he can roam the U.S. now freely. He can work. The U.S. Constitution protects him, etc. So I think the U.S. will lightly give him up. Even leave aside for now John Ashcroft that he has as one of his lead lawyers. Ashcroft, who is a lobbyist. And I keep saying, see, people don't understand. Let's make this point. Ashcroft is not just a lawyer and former attorney general of the U.S. He's also a lobbyist. Lobby, like what Ghana, we've not structured it so well. In the U.S., there are laws, etc. Because, you know, a lot of lobbying involves influence peddling and corruption. A lot of lobbying, right, involves influence peddling and corruption. So it's that area, some gray area, they work in that areas. And so I'm telling you that the influence that John Ashcroft has to get to Ofori here, Master, the best would be that Ekufuado and the MPP asked Ofori to calm down. Please. That is the one Ashcroft cannot deal with, because then that one they are telling Ofori that you are ruining our chances for 2028. Of course, they will lose, but at least if they brought him, maybe their chances will be better. And ultimately, 2032, they will be off. So perhaps when they begin to tell Ofori, look at the end game. If you don't come here, you keep us forever in opposition. Okay, so it's better that you came down so that you face the charges. So that even if he's convicted, who knows? By 2032, if you come, you can give him a pardon. You see? By you see that at least you have done 5 years. You know Ghanaians generally.
He's not guilty. Don't talk like that.
Don't talk like that. Yeah, we are giving the scenario.
Don't give him he's not guilty.
Right?
He's innocent.
So as we speak, the alternative now, taking into consideration the realities that we are faced with, what is the most potent option that can be resorted to by law enforcement agencies to get him to be officially and personally notified for either trial in absentia to take place or for him to be brought to Ghana personally to answer to the questions?
Oh, so for law enforcement, as I said, my understanding from the news portals, etc., is that the documents, the charge sheet, and the orders are with the Justice Department. Well, as whether they've also handed over, we don't know. So perhaps they should be, the Attorney General met, the Attorney General in the Yoko bosses, they met FBI, etc.
The Department of Justice. I think earlier in the week.
Earlier in the week. Yes. So maybe if it's possible, you know, some of these things they don't like putting all out in the media, but at least some general information will be useful. That where are we? As for serving Ofori Atta, that one, I don't think it's a sensitive matter. No, exactly. So at least maybe AG, Dr. Dominic Ayine and Stremsai, they should look at it and tell us how close are we. So that, and also when he receives it, how many days did the judge give? Is it 30 days or 2 months after? If he doesn't come, then we continue. That would be very useful. I don't think that is sensitive because these are court documents. They are these are public information. Where has the Justice Department reached? That's the U.S. authorities in terms of getting Ofori Atta served. That is very key. Let's get that information out into the media so that we see that at least work is being done. So that there will be little space for people who want to, you know, spin, you know, political actors who want to spin all this and say Ora is dead because they are not seeing how far Ofori Atta's trial is going. But at least the fact that the papers are of the U.S. authority is a significant progress, right? Right. Yes. So that is it. So please. Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to Madam Clayton, but let me acknowledge the presence of Manasseh Azure Awone. He is a celebrated investigative journalist, done quite some work in regarding the subject that we're talking about this morning. Manasseh, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Manasseh, can you hear me?
Thank you, Alfred, for having me.
Perfect. Thank you. And Amanda,
Yes, I can hear you, Alfred.
Great. Thank you. If you can put the device you're listening to me on off so you hear me directly through the Zoom, that would be good. Amanda, you had indicated that the green card or the permanent status does not guarantee immunity. But then again, Bible talks about how the dynamics of that alone even makes our case a little more difficult, you know, in trying to get him to come and answer questions.
Yes, because I think it really strengthens, having the U.S. green card really strengthens his humanitarian, public, political persecution and discretionary arguments. You know, he can go further with that because he's a U.S. citizen. But I think I also want to focus on the quote you have up where his lawyers say that the court says the charges in Ghana are not credible.
Yes.
And as we all know, based on our sovereignty and, you know, because of accountability, it might be an incorrect statement just because the charges are comparable. Because, you know, they're always looking at, you know, is this fraud charge similar to a type of fraud charge there? It's comparable. But I think the ultimate thing that should be under discussion is perception. In terms of this perception of anti-corruption and human rights fighting, because it takes a lot for a U.S. court to say that the charges in Ghana are not credible, particularly if when they look at their types of charges, it's very similar. So what we have to understand might have gone on there is that decision came from intelligence in terms of the information they were given as to what is the state of this matter in Ghana. And having worked at the Attorney General's Department in Ghana, you know, in the international team, we would always do things like look up what other people.
We ain't some team course what channel so I'm not so general. That's an so why did you do me?